Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host always, Gav, and today is a bit of a two live shows put into one for the podcast. The majority of the show is going to be the live stream we done from today, which is us talking about St Mirren and looking ahead to Aberdeen, and also having a discussion in the middle of that about if we could break our record points total, which obviously we achieved in the 17-18 season under Neil Lennon. 67 points we got. Can we beat that this season? We'll have a chat about that and compare the two seasons, and then after that I'm going to edit in the live show from Monday where we talk, or some of it anyway, not obviously the 3 hours we were on for, just some of that edited in, talking about Nisbet, talking about Porteous, and also the reaction to Jamie Gullan going out on loan, and if that leaves us short up top. So yeah, so I'll let you know when we're kind of going into that next bit, but let's start with talk about the St Mirren game. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stuart. Guys, how you getting on?
Why do I never get to say alright to anybody?
I know, I keep on cutting you off. Stuart, join us today, and Stuart.
Alright, guys. See,
there we go.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Sorry about that. But yeah.
High maintenance, Stuart, isn't he?
He is. He always needs.
Just want to be loved.
Yeah. How you getting on anyway, guys?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Yeah, doing all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Can't complain. Enjoyed my week off, which is good. I've been a bit busier than I planned, but no, enjoying the week off. It's really good. So we're going to have a chat about the St Mirren game last night, obviously. We're going to have a chat about Aberdeen on Saturday, and we're going to have a chat about, as you can sort of see there, the people that are watching live, records points. You know, we'll get into a bit more, but I believe after 27 games this season, we finished on our record points. We were on 47 points. We're now on 46 points after the same amount of games. We've got a decent run in, so we'll be having a chat about could we surpass that point total this season. But let's get started with the St Mirren game. Let's have a little get the match review image up here. Perfect, there it is. Stuart, no, the most exciting first half?
No, definitely not. I think I've kind of described it as frantic but pointless. There just really wasn't much happening in the game as way of highlights. If anyone's been able to catch up on the Hibs TV highlights, I think the first thing they actually show is the sending off from 35-minute mark, which kind of almost lets you know everything about that first half, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And then go straight into the second half after that. So it really wasn't a bit of a... I mean, Dave, you were kind of preparing dinner whilst watching it, and benefits of not being at the game. What was your kind of views in the first half?
No, I found myself looking away quite a lot, but that's just how I'm finding football now in general. Like, I struggle to sit down and stay concentrated for the 90 minutes. I'm like on my phone, I'm like doing other stuff. So I made dinner last night while I was watching the first half, and I kept turning around looking at it, and nothing much was happening. So I was quite thankful that I had something to do, but yeah.
Do you think we're almost getting too much football right now? Is there such a thing? Like, every night there's a possibility to watching 2-3 top flight games from England or Scotland. Obviously, number one priority is always going to be Hibs, but even finishing our game at 6 o'clock last night, we had how many games to choose from in the English flight, or watching Killie Celtic.
Yeah,
I mean, I could have thought last night, I was originally I thought the Hibs game was going to be later on, and Dave, you told me it was a 6 o'clock kickoff.
Thanks for that, Dave. I fell for that as well.
I was thinking, right, I said to Becca, we should sit down and watch a movie tonight, and I thought, right, okay, we'll watch a movie around about 5 o'clock, then I'll go upstairs and watch the Hibs game in the spare room. And then when Dave said that, I said, right, okay, I'll watch the Hibs game, and then we'll watch a movie after that. But that means I can't watch the Man United game. I'm sure that'll not be great. Man United have been rubbish in the last few weeks. So I didn't watch the Man United game, and I watched the Hibs game, and I missed a cracking game there by the looks of things. But yeah, I watched the match of the day this morning with extended highlights, which was quite good. But anyway, let's get back to Hibs. The only highlight which Stuart sort of mentioned there in the first half was, I originally thought it was a pass through, but watching the highlights back, I realised actually it's a St Mirren player that's played the ball back. Horrendous back pass. Boyle reads it well, picks it up, and is 1-1 with the keeper, knocks it around the keeper really well, gets taken down by the keeper, and the keeper gets sent off. Dave, was that red card?
Yeah, And that's the advantage of having Boyle in that position as well, rather than having him wing back, because he had the pace to cause that problem. Because otherwise, the keeper would have just cleared that with any other player. But with Boyle being there, and it's definitely a red. Touches it round him, and he's enough. He would have been enough in front of the defender to get that round the other side, 100%.
Aye, and I mean, the defender, the Simon defender, we can see him when we watch the replays. He's moaning as if to say, "Oh, I was there," but it's still a red card. He was behind the play, wasn't he?
It was definitely behind the play, and if Martin Boyle had successfully knocked it around the keeper, which he had, and then carried on, he wasn't going to catch him. I think what also maybe made up the rest mind for it. The keeper rushed out, paused, and then went in again, and he's showing a hell of a lot of stud there as well. It did kind of baffle me a bit that there was about 3 St Mirren players surrounding the ref, bemoaning the decision at the edge. Like, come on, guys, other end of the pitch. I'd have been putting my head in my hands, thinking, Rocky, what are you up to? Or is that just football for you nowadays, that these players have to make up for crowd noise instead?
Well, you seen it when we played St Johnstone, Rocky's red card. That was different because Rocky was the last man. So I can see why, because that Louis in the chats, Lewis Pearson saying in the chat that he doesn't think it was a red. So that's maybe why some people do and don't think, because it maybe is dubious whether that St Mirren player could have got it or no. It maybe is up for debate, but for me, the goalkeeper was too slow, and it is a red.
Yeah, I thought it was a red as well. And I mean, just after that, we did, I mean, it was only sort of other thing from that half. We did have a free kick straight after that. Boyle floats it into the box. It gets headed away. It bounces around a lot, and I think it falls to Paul McGinn, who kind of hits a shot that skips across the ground. The goalkeeper collects. Stuart, would you have liked to seen Boyle or somebody else have a shot on goal? I mean, I know it was quite far out, but still, a goalkeeper that's played 2 games in 3 years coming on, surely should be testing him.
Yeah, we definitely need a Stevie Mallon for that type of position, let's be fair. But yeah, we probably should be testing a keeper. But then how many times have you seen someone coming off the bench or coming back from a long injury? They're sharp, they're on it because they know this is their opportunity. He's going to be in for the next game. There's no way that St Mirren obviously can appeal that decision. So it's kind of his place to lose again now. So I don't think he was at fault for anything much last night, but yeah, probably testing him from distance wouldn't have been the baddest idea coming in from the cold. Definitely wasn't the warmest night in Paisley last night, I'm led to believe.
And like I say, not much else to kind of talk about the first half. So I mean, we'll have a talk about the team selection, Dave. It was the same team. McGregor sort of kept his place, and it seems like Boyle is sort of playing more as a striker in recent games. Murphy with a bit of a free roll, kind of drifting out to the left, but also sometimes going out to the right. Doidge up beside Boyle. What's your sort of thoughts on this new formation? Does it get the best out of those players? And what's your thoughts? Obviously, you mentioned the benefits of it earlier on, but the thought of Boyle playing more centrally the rest of the season?
It works if they're direct, in my opinion, with Boyle and Murphy. And they were hitting the byline a bit more. Murphy wasn't just in his usual cutting in. He was so that gives you another option. But I liked it they stuck with the same team. I think they needed to. I wouldn't have liked if Nisbet had came in and at the end of the day we won against Dundee United pretty convincingly. Dundee United never done much. So they deserve just to stick with a winning team rather than just chopping and changing.
Yeah. Well, Stuart, your thoughts on Boyle through the middle? Oh, can't hear you, Stuart.
My apologies. Yeah, I still think we're going to be a little bit limited up front for the rest of the season. It does worry me if Nisbet or Doidge gets an injury. Where do we go from there? I thought we were shy a striker going into the transfer window, and yet we've let Gullan go. Now, whether Ross and his team sees Murphy or Boyle's a way of pushing up front, why not? We definitely reaped the benefits of that last night. Well, obviously got into the second half, but those two were a lot more positive in more forward positions. So what do I know, basically?
We went into half time. We're all sort of saying, while speaking over Discord and stuff, we're watching the game, saying we done a watch along where we're like, right, surely there should be some changes here. I suggested taking off McGregor and putting on Nisbet and just going three at the back with Gogic sort of sitting in front of them, or maybe Gogic sort of dropping in but coming out, or maybe going to a back four and Gogic sitting in front of them. But instead, it was McGregor coming off and Porteous coming on. A bit of a like for like. What was your sort of reactions to that, Dave, when you seen the sub made at half time?
I think when you're playing against 10 men, you could probably go for it a wee bit more, especially at 0-0. So doing a like for like sub, in hindsight, obviously worked, but I would have preferred a more attacking sub than. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I seen last night Man United took off Luke Shaw. Sorry, I've done that before. Took off Luke Shaw and moved Fred to left back. It's not his position, but they done it so that they could just get somebody else that could, get more people up the park. They got Martial on. They went more direct. I think there was maybe an opportunity to really punish St Mirren after going down to 10 men, but like I say, we've got the results. That's the main thing. So let's have a chat about some of the chances. We've sort of been critical again after the St Johnstone game and after the Rangers game about Boyle being on set pieces, but we've scored from 2 corners that he's taken in the last 2 games in the last sort of 4 days. Obviously, the one against Dundee United was more indirect. Ball floated in, bounced about. Irvin held it up, played it to McGregor, and we scored. This one a lot more direct. Great ball floated in. Porteous, great run, great header. Stuart, your thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, you know what? Great to see a good delivery from a set piece. Martin Boyle delivering for us there. Porteous knew exactly what he was doing, where he was aiming for. Not going to stop that. Also, good sub there by Jack Ross, and started the second half as we wanted to continue.
Dave, thoughts on the goal?
Aye, decent. I probably thought the same as most people when Boyle went out to take it, that absolutely nothing was coming for it. And then it's very surprising when I went in, and then instantly felt daft because we had just slated Boyle's set pieces in the last podcast. So it's kind of that way you're like,
he's been working on it. Maybe listens to the pod and he's been working on it. Hi, Mark, if you're listening.
Who else can we slate and say that didn't do enough, and then next game it'll happen?
So let's look. So we did sort of speak about making changes. They did sort of make changes about 10 minutes into the second half. Nisbet coming on and went 4-4-2. Boyle went out to the right, Murphy to the left, and Gogic and Irvin in the middle. Nisbet and Doidge up top. And Boyle, it was great to see him get to the byline. Got to the byline, crossed in, Doidge's header, and it was knocked over the bar by the keeper. Dave, great to see Boyle, like you mentioned earlier on, getting to the byline again and being a lot more confident, taking on a player, something we've not seen enough of.
No, and that's why I think it must have been an instruction, because the two of them were doing it. But like, he's got the speed to take folk on and go to the byline. So like the last few games, he's maybe been stalling in front of defenders and letting defenders maybe give him a yard so that they can like keep on his toes. But it's been so much better. Like when he hits the byline, it's dangerous because he can cut in as well. So he can cut in, or he can obviously play the ball across. So.
Yeah, defenders struggle to keep up with him.
Yeah.
He can turn pretty quickly. He's just an absolute asset to have there, and it's been frustrating this season to not see him playing to that kind of strength. But last night we definitely seemed to have him and Murphy both running and hitting the byline. And guess what? That was causing St Mirren some worries and some issues.
And Stuart, I know you were quite critical of Doidge sort of when we were watching the highlights back, and you'd said he'd done well, but watching it back, you felt he maybe could have done better.
I think the ball was maybe slightly behind him, maybe mistimed his jump, but if he gets good contact on that, which he did, anywhere else, that's a goal. For a keeper, great save. A leaping save always makes a strike look better. But I think he could have hit the back of the net there. But Doidge did actually have a good game for me yesterday, so I'll give him a pass on that.
Yeah, great hold-up play quite a few times from Doidge overall. And that's the header there. We've done that one. And yeah, Dave, you spoke about Murphy being more direct as well, getting to the byline. He picked up the ball quite deep in the St Mirren half, went on a run, ran at the defender, and actually went out there around the outside, which was great to see. And before he could put it across, brought it down. Did you think it was a penalty?
I thought it was very soft, but the fact that St Mirren didn't even really appeal obviously means they were sitting in it. The guy just pulls him back and just out the tiniest wee bit. But I agree with you. How good was it to see how deep he picked that ball up, and then just he had nothing in his mind. But I'm running at this boy. He obviously backed him into the box and then took him to the outside. That's exactly what I want to see.
Stuart, your thoughts on
got to agree.
Murphy being more direct, and was it a penalty?
Yeah, great to see him being more direct. He is a bit one-footed sometimes. I think we can criticise him for that, but he went on the outside of the man. As Dave just said there, no appeal whatsoever from any St Mirren boys. It was a stupid decision from a defender, much like I said about the goalkeeper's red. If that was our team, we'd have been putting our heads in our hands saying, what on earth are you playing at there? And gave the referee a decision to make, and I think it was the correct one.
And then obviously Boyle took the penalty, scored the penalty, so a goal and assist from Boyle, and a lot more direct from him, so that's good to see. And then St Mirren hit us on the counter-attack. It was a sort of aimless sort of ball over to their left-hand side, our right-hand side. McGinn just gets beat for pace too easily. And then Dave, another chance, this one taken. We know it happened against St Johnstone in the Cup. It happened when Morelos missed it at the back post. And now another one where a striker's found himself in plenty of space at the back post. And this time Obika scores.
Yeah, we just got caught completely out of position. Like Porteous is not close enough, and you can see Porteous is actually bursting a gut to try and get back to cover Obika, which shouldn't be the case. He probably shouldn't be left in that much space at the start. But was Gogic booked last night?
Yeah, pretty late on though.
Was it late on? So he wasn't booked by that point because he should have brought the boy down at the edge of the box, like when that attack was starting, like stopped it dead in its tracks there. That's the type of fouls that you see Pep Guardiola getting his team to make. They always do daft wee niggly fouls, stop an attack early doors before it even gets to the point of being a threat.
I think kind of Hibs did struggle with Obika coming on. Hanlon seemed to have his hands full for the remainder of the game, but you've also got to acknowledge what a brilliant ball up the wing that was, and how quick is that St Mirren boy? He was absolutely racing down the line.
A fast, good St Mirren player. I'm sure Hibs will be looking at him quite soon.
And at the end of the day, we're quite like Obika, so we'll give you a pass on that one, mate, if you're listening.
And then, like I say, I think the only other chance was Murphy caught into his right foot and got a shot off which hit the post. So great to see that, directness again. But I can see there was some criticism. A lot of people saying it's great to win, but we're winning ugly and things like that. A lot of things in the 3-word review like that. And I can see Andy Rogers, 1993, said, "Am I the only one that thinks it's very Craig Levein football? I think we do have players that can play better football, though." Dave, your thoughts on the kind of performance overall?
No, probably not good enough. It's nowhere we want to be. That's not what you want to watch every week when you watch Hibs, is it? Let's be honest. First half was poor. Second half was better. But everybody keeps saying it's about getting results, so you get away with it if you win. But equally now, if we didn't break them down and we didn't get the win, then there's nothing. There's no like we can fall back on, but we're playing good football, because we're not. We're extremely boring to watch pretty much every week. So
yeah, the 3 points definitely masked quite a lot of the performance last night, and I'm almost fed up of phoning my dad at full time to kind of talk about the match, things like that, and using the words, well, it was hardly a classic, or oh, it wasn't exactly one for the ages. I think I've said that far too many times, and all right, I'm not expecting too much from a midweek game in Paisley, but against 10 men, some of the subs did make you kind of wonder. And I think St Mirren TV alluded to it last night to say quite negative from Hibs. They were keeping a back four and Gogic in the midfield against 10 men. We're trying to get Scott Allen back into fitness. That'd have been an absolutely perfect game to get him on the pitch, slipping the kind of balls that we know he can do to Murphy and Boyle. We easily could have seen that last night. We're having a different conversation now.
Yeah, I completely agree. My only worry would be it's great to see that we're winning. There's been a lot of games like this season where we've won, and that's encouraging. But we haven't got results against the better teams this season, against better defences. I don't think we're creating enough clear-cut chances. Last night we scored from a set piece and a penalty. I think we need to be creating better chances if we're going to then continue to create chances against better defences. We need to be more creative against better teams. I don't think that's a coincidence that we've, had games where we've won 1-0, we've grounded it out. It's ugly, but we win stuff, and then we struggle against the better teams, the better defences. We need to be more creative and take more chances, maybe. And it was great to see elements of that last night. I know Boyle was getting more to the byline, more Murphy being more direct, Murphy going the outside as well as cutting inside. He seems to enjoy when that free roll. Although I think there's maybe an option for Scott Allen to play that free roll as well, with Boyle and Nisbet in front of him, or Doidge and Nisbet. So it's good that there is still options, and hopefully more things will come. But just sort of overall thoughts on the game then, guys, before we move on to the talking point for this week.
Probably just enough done in it. Get the win and get out. At the end of the day, St Mirren, it's fucking St Mirren at the end of the day. But they won at Parkhead to hammer Dundee United. We were in a bit of form. Should never be concerned about that though. If we want to finish third in the league, realistically, every single time we beat play St Mirren, we should be winning. But if you take playing, then good result considering we never played that well.
I think I think Goodwin's got to take a lot of praise for how he's got St Mirren playing. Their home form or home record isn't exactly brilliant, but they definitely have got the legs, they've got the strength, and they've got the character. So I think we should be really happy with the 3 points last night. Performance-wise, C+, B-. Give it that.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. There needs to be more from the performance, but at the end of the day, we're winning, and it's given us a platform to build upon. So hopefully that's what's sort of more coming long term. And I think that's the thing. That's when we've seen us not get results a few weeks ago. The Livingston, the Ross County game. You've seen a lot of people on social media go, "Oh well, if we're losing games and the performances aren't good enough, what's the point?" So then, it's great if you're winning, but as soon as you don't win, that quickly twists. So I think we need to add some good football to it, and it's I know it's not everyone's opinion, but to me, we're only going to win cups every now and then. We're never going to win the league. So where's the enjoyment coming from being a Hibs fan? To me, it's watching entertaining, exciting football. I know of maybe green tinted glasses, some of the performances in the past, or some of the teams in the past, but I think that's what, as long as it's exciting to go watch Hibs. And I think if we were there every week in we'd maybe be getting a bit frustrated. But you know what? We get the 3 points. That's the main thing, and it's something to build upon.
I don't think the pay at the gate numbers would be great right now, if in normal times. Let's be fair.
Yeah. So, but like I say, we are getting the points, and that kind of leads us on to our discussion for this week, which I should be able to get up here if I turn off that. So, are we potentially heading for a records points? So the reason this sort of conversations came up because after 27 games that we've played, is that right? Yeah, 27 games. We were on 47 points under Neil Lennon. We're now on 46 points. So, and like I say, in the running that the Lennon team had before the split, they had quite a rough couple of games. Rangers, Aberdeen, Hearts. We don't really have the Old Firm. We've only obviously got Aberdeen on Saturday, but we've got a decent run in. So the question is, could we potentially surpass that point total? So, I mean, Dave, what's your kind of memories of that 17-18 season?
I remember it actually being quite entertaining. So you didn't really know how many we were going to score or concede. We weren't solid at the back at all, but we were quite fluid going forward. And then was that the season of 5 each?
Yeah, that was the final game of the season.
5-3 was a game before that, Easter Road as well. Because come on,
the Kelly one.
Yeah.
5-3, yeah.
So, I mean, that was brilliant. That was good fun. So, if we do break our records points, fine. But there you see it. Like Lennon done it whilst it was entertaining. Do you know what I mean? I know we didn't think much of Neil Lennon now, but at the time it was entertaining and we got somewhere with it. So now we're nearly there, but it's boring.
Stuart, your kind of memories of that season?
Yeah, very, very similar to Dave. You were actually bursting. You couldn't wait to go back to East Road or tune in for the next game. For their Lennon, he was a great character. Okay, his tenure came to a rather disputed end. Will we ever know whatever happened? It'll probably be up there with did Nisbet actually hand in a transfer request. But we just to get away from him. I've got a buddy who worked at Hibs at the time, and he always kind of said to me, yeah, when things were going great, it was a great place to be, but when things weren't going great, stay the hell out of his way. And that's not a great atmosphere. So however much things were going right on the pitch, they were always kind of on a bit of a knife edge, and that's what we saw. That next season came along and things went wrong. Should that damage how we view 17-18? Yes and no. We should have been able to build and grow on that one, but because things were going well, and that top six split as well, we ended up, didn't we draw 0-0 with Aberdeen, missed McLaren penalty, lost to Hearts at Tynecastle. Obviously the 5-0 was something else that none of us will ever forget. I can't remember the Celtic score from that top.
I did have it here. I'll need to get it back up just now. Yeah, like I said, I know
Sutton
we
goes
beat
well.
Celtic 2-0 at home in the after the split.
That's right, yeah, because they left their champions board in Easter Road and left. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the game, yeah.
I think Sutton goes well for Hibs though, and then what we do is we live off it for a couple of seasons rather than progress with it. So we hit the record points total, or like we win the Scottish Cup, and then it's like it's fine. We won the Scottish Cup 5 years ago, and like, are we going to get better, or are we just going to keep remembering about that? Do you know what I mean? I think we've got a bit of that in our locker.
Yeah. It was 3 years ago today, 2018, 3rd of February, we beat Rangers 2-1 at Ibrox. You know, I mean, it's a bit of a strange team. I think Bartley played right back that day, I think. Porteous and Ambrose at centre back, Stevenson at left back, Boyle, Allen, McGinn, McGeoch, Barker, and then Canberry up top. And like I say, we won. Obviously, McLaren came off the bench and scored the winner. So yeah, like I say, there's we after sort of winning that game, we kind of went on a mixed run, but some great results, especially after the split and things like that. And then we finished on our record points total. But obviously, looking at Hibs this season, we're now on 46 points. I mean, Dave, we have been, although we've been critical of performances, there's been a lot of games where we've been getting the results.
Yeah, and this is where the whole to get Jack Ross out argument that came after the St Johnstone game kind of falls a wee bit flat in its face, because if we're in this position, then can it really be justified? Nah, no, really. Like, you hear that cliche, football is a results business. At the end of the day, we're getting the results, aren't we? Mm-hmm. It does need to be better against the teams in and around us, 100% against the teams ahead of us. Even though, when you think about it, he actually not got a bad record this season against Rangers and Celtic with 2 points off both of them. But Aberdeen, against Aberdeen, we've been poor. It's like, and then Hearts, like, fucking hell. But it's like, thank God they're this season. But apart from that, I think it would have been harsh to Den and William. We probably did give him too much a harsh time, but he did need, the whole team needed stick, I think, after the semi-final.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, the league position is great. I think what also is not helping us are these strange, unprecedented times. We're not there. We're not there to enjoy it. So however much it seems to be taking up less of our lives, it's almost taking up more of our lives at the same time for it. For those who don't know, I do live down south. I'm always able to kind of watch games, things like that. But I would regularly make business trips up to be able to kind of go see Hibs, go to an away game. It's amazing how many of my clients know to just kind of look at the Hibs fixtures to see if I'm going to be about or not, which is fantastic. But that's something we've definitely been missing. So are we kind of venting this anger as something that Hibs have got no control of? We're already starting to see people posting on some of the forums to say, I'm not renewing my season ticket unless Hibs can guarantee me getting in. Well, newsflash, folks, this isn't Hibs' decision. They've not banned all the fans from the stadium out of spite. We just kind of need to kind of roll with the punches with this, and then as soon as we're allowed people in, we'll be welcome back, I'm sure.
Yeah. Aye, I think I have seen some people say, has fans not been in played a part in some of the performances this season? I know that's been an argument people have had. I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, you still need to be creating chances. You still need to be playing football. So yeah. But I mean, let's have a look. Obviously, the split is coming up soon. We've got the run in here of the games that we've got. So I'll quickly run through these and then get your guys' opinions on how many points we could aim for. Obviously, starting Aberdeen at home, a team that we need to get a result against this season, as Dave sort of said there. Ross County away, Hamilton at home, Motherwell at home, St Johnstone away, and Livingston away. With the exception of obviously Livingston are doing very well and turned it round, and Aberdeen, who is maybe a good time to play them because they're not in form. That's a decent running, Stuart, isn't it, between now and the split?
It's really not bad, yeah. As you said, avoiding the Old Firm away to Livy might help us. I'm not quite sure. But looking at Aberdeen at the weekend, the two previous games against them, okay, 2 losses. They've kind of turned into the hearts of the league right now. But those games came down to individual errors on it. The 1-0 penalty issue with Gogic with his false positive COVID test, he'd have made a difference that day. Martin Boyle getting caught short to give away the penalty, and that was it. The 2-0 game up in Aberdeen, we kind of just gifted them 2 goals within the space of the first, was it 12 minutes or something like that? And that was it, game over. I think we're a lot more disciplined than that now. Certainly having Darren McGregor at the heart of the defence again will make a difference on that. And you know what? Yeah, Aberdeen have almost kind of sold the family farm. They've got rid of a lot of good quality players, and kind of remains to be seen if they've replaced well.
Yeah, obviously we'll kind of come back to Aberdeen a bit more in a second, like say with the preview. No, it's fine. It's great to get. No, it's fine. No trouble at all. Like I say, the 6 games there, Dave. 18 points for grabs. I'll get a total from you in a moment. But how are you feeling about those games when you hear them read out? Like, so I'll run through them again quickly. Aberdeen at home, Ross County away, Hamilton at home, Motherwell at home, St Johnstone away, Livingston away. How are you feeling when you hear those sort of games run out and considering our results so far this season?
Well, there's a few teams that in that list. To be fair, we're saying it's an easier or a good run in. St Johnstone have handed us our arses to us. So's Livy, Ross County, Aberdeen. Motherwell have got a new manager and performing a bit better. Hamilton are just weird. Like some weeks they're half decent, some weeks they're shite. So, on paper should be, but with Hibs' record against the teams this season, it'll not be as plain sailing as we think. But there's definitely an opportunity there.
We are coming into the time of year where Hamilton seem to wake up and rescue themselves as well. So that's always exciting if you're one of those supporters. Yeah. All 4 of them.
So let's get a total from you.
Let's play. Right, go through them.
Right, okay.
We'll go Aberdeen and then go Dave Stewart. What do you think? And we'll go draw.
Okay.
Win.
Aberdeen at home.
After you, Dave. I'm going 3 points. Hibs win.
Nah, draw.
Okay, so I want you to keep your total and add them up.
Right, go.
I've got my pen, Gav. I'm all ready, sir.
Write down 1 point for me then.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I mean, of course Dave will do that. Yeah. No, so I'm writing them down.
Well. All right, okay, that's great. Thanks. So Ross County away.
Get the chats to play along to so they can say 3 points.
Yeah, in the chat, say how many points you'll get from each game and add it up. Ross County away.
I'm saying 3 points. And Dave, did you say 3 points as well?
I'm saying 3 points for this, sorry.
Grand.
Hamilton at home.
3 points.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3 points.
Stuart's
is mental. Yeah.
Stuart's got us at 9 points.
Motherwell at home.
3 points.
And I'm going to say 1 now.
St Johnstone away. An opportunity for revenge for the semi-final.
I'm saying 1 point.
1 point, probably 0 points. I hate playing St Johnstone. But I'll say
Livingston away.
0.
No, I'm going to say 3. I think their bubble will burst by then.
So adding it up, Stuart, how many points have you got us? You two got us getting?
Well, Dave's got a very unrealistic 11, and I've got a quite accurate 14. So there you go.
14 to 18. I tell you what, I'd take that. Maybe not the way you put it out, but I'd take that. 14 points. That would give us. Let's have a look. So after going into the split, we were on 58 points going into the split. So if we were to get 14 points, we would be on 60 points, so 2 points better off than that. Dave, you had 11, so a point behind that still, a point behind the record-breaking season going into the split. So, I mean, it is on if we can continue to keep this sort of, if we can get back on track and keep the last kind of couple of games form going.
I must say the chat seems to be pretty positive for talking about points against Aberdeen and points totals as well. 13 points, 12 points coming up here as well. Liam, bless you, 18 out of 18. Love to see that, mate. Andy Rogers, 1 point against Motherwell, 0 against St Johnstone, and 3 away against Livy. So, yeah, we all seem to be dancing round about the positive side of the totals.
Yeah, I can see, looking on Facebook as well. It's actually saying Hibs Talk, because I can see Callum's logged in on the Hibs Talk account. So it's saying he's got a few of us getting 3 against Aberdeen, 3 against County, 3 against Hamilton, a loss to Motherwell at home, a point away at St Mirren, a point away at Livy. So I like I said, and like I say, seeing the Twitch chat as well, there's a lot of sort of positivity as well there. Liam McLennan saying 18 out of 18, Reedy saying 15. So I think there is an opportunity to kind of look at this and say maybe we can beat the record points. And it's crazy to think, I like I say, I have been critical of the performances, but at the end of the day, I don't understand why people are saying Jack Ross out when we're kind of potentially going for a record-breaking season in terms of points. So
he does seem to keep highlighting, performances need to be better, we need to show more, things like that. It's great to hear it, Jack, and I'm still edging on the side. I seem to bang this drum every time I'm on the podcast, saying we're still only kind of the first kind of 15 months into his tenure, and we've had kind of 3 or 4 of those off from COVID. So kind of giving the guy some time. Winning ugly is great, but let him come in, let him get the right personnel in. I don't doubt that we maybe missed out on 1 or 2 of the right personnel on the transfer deadline day, but I think so many of us have said online it makes a difference from, an exciting signing that none of us have ever heard of that turns out to be complete dross. It makes a difference. Let's kind of hold the pot back a little bit for a summer window.
So let us know if you think we're going to beat that 67 points mark. Let us know in the chat, or if you're listening to the podcast, let us know on the social medias or on the forums at HFC Talk. 46 points at the moment, 11 games to go, 67 points is the tally to beat. And obviously, if we do reach that, it would put us in a fantastic position for challenging for third and for Europe. Because I don't see Aberdeen getting 67 points. They've been a bit inconsistent. So I think if we could get to that, it would put us in a great spot for 1, Europe, and 2, third in the league. So speaking of Aberdeen, obviously our biggest rivals for...
So before we move on, Gav, I just want to acknowledge Liam on the chat saying Stuart looks like one of the Spice Girls with his headset, which obviously I disagree with. I was going for more of a Bewitched thing because I'm wearing jeans in the house. Extremely
Bewitched were much better than Spice Girls, let's be honest.
Exactly. But thanks for that, Liam. Good feedback.
So Aberdeen on Saturday. Flo's return, of course, to Easter Road. Wasn't in the team last night, but is apparently going to make his debut against us on Saturday. I know, Dave, you spoke about on Monday's show. Stuart, your thoughts on Canberra signing for Aberdeen?
Bit of a surprising one. And sadly, the boy does love a debut. Did he score a double against Motherwell in his first game for us? Certainly knows how to hit the ground running. Never really performed at Rangers. Debatable whether he was given much of a chance, but seemed to have kind of floated about recently. And with kind of, I'm going to say this reservedly, but known attitude issues. Is it just us looking as Hibs fans saying he's got an attitude problem, he's not in the right frame of mind or whatever else like that? I'm surprised McInnes took him on. To be honest, will he fit into Aberdeen's system? Because the amount of times kind of high balls and things like that were played to Flo and just was an absolute waste of time. They're not exactly known for playing the ball on the deck, especially losing right to Rangers. I think Aberdeen have lost quite a lot of their creativity.
Yeah, right away to Rangers. Hedges went off with an injury. I've not done any checking. If anybody can let me know how serious that's going to be. So, but Dave, your thoughts on Aberdeen so far this season?
I'm a wee bit annoyed Hedges were off with an injury, mate. I did not know that, and he's in my fantasy football team. So you've just put a headache straight onto my plate. Aberdeen have been Aberdeen, aren't they? I don't think they've been that impressive, but they're still picking up results. They're still thereabouts. They're used to it, aren't they? But their fans are starting to get a bit bored of McInnes football as well. And obviously that's the type of football we're playing now. So
they've had 8 years of it though. We've only had about 15 months.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how I couldn't watch Hibs if they were as boring as they have been for that long. Like, I don't care if you're getting to finals and no winning them. Like, you've not exactly got much to show for it. You get about 2 games in Europe or something, and then they're out.
Well, their season ticket numbers have drastically dropped kind of every season. Obviously not including this one with everything that's happening. But it just kind of shows, finishing second, third, fourth kind of isn't enough. You do have to be entertained when you go to the football.
Definitely, mate.
Or go to the cinema.
But like you're saying though, Gav, Flo, like fucking, it's an absolute certainty. Like he'll have a good game. I thought he was all right when he went to Rangers. To be fair, he came off the bench. I remember I'm coming off the bench at St Johnstone, and done really well. And like the fans, quite liked him. They were taking a wee shine into him, probably because of his comments. I definitely think that helped him, but I thought he'd done all right, and I actually think he's an all right player.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll start well, and it's fucking an absolute certainty that he'll put in a blinder to a performance, just whether we can contain him or not.
Yeah. Aberdeen, like I mentioned earlier on, potentially a good time to play them. I know Stuart done a big Aberdeen preview a minute ago, but we'll kind of go over some of it again. But yeah, looking at the recent form, I mean, the last sort of 5 games, they got beat off Ross County 4-1. They beat Motherwell 2-0 at home, drew 0-0 with St Johnstone, drew 0-0 with Livingston, and got beat 2-0 off Livingston. Looking back in the league, the last away win was the 20th of December, and they've played quite a few games since then. So struggling on the road, not many wins in the last few games. Dave, good time to play Aberdeen.
Should be. They're no in the best run of form. Neither were we until the last couple of games. So, but definitely a good time to play them if their confidence is going to be lower. They just seem to have something over us though, where they can just get results. But that's what we need to get past mentally. And that's what Jack Ross needs to get past mentally, get a result against them. But it's massive. It could literally define what's going to happen the rest of our season, this game on Saturday.
Stuart, we've seen Porteous come off the bench yesterday, Nisbet come off the bench yesterday. We've seen the starting lineup being the same one as Dundee United. Do we go with the same lineup, or do we start with maybe more close to the team that finished, or how do you see it going?
I don't like changing a winning formula. Whether Porteous is kind of back to where he should be, I could almost be tempted to drop Hanlon again for it, but I would love to. This is exactly the kind of game we need Scott Allen for. We're going to need some creativity. We're going to have to take a couple of chances. Aberdeen, apart from any game against Celtic or that Ross County game, they don't ship a lot of goals. We're going to have to be a little bit kind of clear and dry on this one. So we need something creative. I would almost be tempted to give Jackson Irvine a break. He's coming, he's hit the ground running, but he must be feeling it. From bringing him into that St Johnstone semi-final, he's played 3 games in the space of 6 days, a couple of days rest, and then back for it on Saturday. maybe have him coming off the bench instead.
Dave, could you see us changing it to fit Scott Allen in? And if so, I mean, I was trying to look for the question here. I know somebody asked it earlier on. Where does Scott Allen fit into this team?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know. What if Joe Newell's coming back in as well? Like, I don't know. I think he got injured again, but if him and Newell were to come back in, it'd probably quite difficult. But I think, would I drop Jackson Irvine? I don't know if I would, see, because he's only in Wales for 6 months. I think get him out there and get him playing. Like, I'm not going to get to see him much in that, and he has been decent. He's an aerial threat. Aberdeen are quite like a big team, so.
Yeah, I think the game at Easter Road, we've seen quite a bit of that. Aberdeen kind of bossing us in the midfield. McCrory, one of them. So I think I'm obviously Gogic wasn't playing that game, so I think Gogic and Irvine, obviously it's a completely different midfield, will help with that physical battle. So that, to me, those two have got to start. But I would have somebody else in beside them, whether that be McGuinness or Allen. I don't know.
I'd probably rather go with McGuinness or Newell if Newell's fit rather than Scott Allen. I know what Stuart's saying, but is he going to be fit enough to start for the start? I don't know. But then do you bring him on, get him playing well, maybe establish a wee bit of lead and then shore up a wee bit rather than bringing him on when we're chasing the game? I don't know. I don't know what's better.
Yeah, we've had quite a few people on the chat talking about Newell. Will he re-sign? Where is he? Where does he fit into the team? Yeah, and again, it kind of shows what a difference he's been this season for us. That we've had a couple of people mention him. We've definitely missed him. I believe he did take another knock in training this week. Whether he's back for Saturday, which almost seems to be the new old tagline. Do we risk him? Do we? Is he re-signing? I think it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry. Like we've said that before in the pod about the fact that, you know, our midfield at the moment, Jackson Irvine, Newell, probably 2 starters if fully fit, could be gone next season. So you want to build a team around your midfield, and we're potentially building a team around players that might not be there next season. So that's a bit of a worry. And also the fact that he keeps having these niggly injuries, which is annoying. I know he was been on Hibs TV and he was like, "Oh, I'm back for the weekend," and then he wasn't back, and then he was on Hibs TV and he said, "Oh, I'm back for the next game," and then he got another injury. And then he missed the Dundee United game in the St Mirren game. So hopefully he's back. But we'll see what kind of happens there and how he fits in. So, I mean, you've obviously sort of said whether you think we're going to win or not. So what's your score predictions for the game?
One each.
2-0 to the High Bees.
But Canberry's going to score.
I did say that, yeah. It'll be chalked off. Wrong decision. There you go.
I hope that would be brilliant, man. If that wee rat was unhappy, imagine he gets a goal that said the line or something, but like probably about that, and they were like, "Nah," and he's fucking raging. I'd take that. I'd take that in a draw.
I'll go for 2-1 Hibs. I think this is a game we need to win. We need to make a statement. No, you know what? I'm going to go for 3-1 Hibs. We're going to make a proper statement. Aberdeen have been rubbish recently. We're going to make them. They're still going to be rubbish on Saturday. Flo's not going to make that much of a difference, but he will score. So 3-1 Hibs.
You're deluded, Gav.
Maybe I am. And then maybe that's the problem, because I get annoyed watching the games because maybe I set up these high expectations and then we never achieve them. And then it's my fault. I should go in with low expectations. It's my fault. I'm the problem.
Yeah, you should
not this side of football. It's me. So yeah. So let's finish up with your guys' questions. I just changed the thing here. So we've got a few to get through. I know we were talking about the game earlier on last. We were beat Rangers 2-1 at iBox. Like I said, that was 3 years ago today. I can't believe that's 3 years ago. Christ. Yeah, so an interesting question about that. Allen, McGinn and McGeoch. Obviously McGinn was brilliant. Do you think there's any players in that team that we get into the team right now and vice versa? Do you think there's anybody in the current team that would get into that team? I mean, Bartley right back, so I'll automatically I'm putting Paul McGinn in.
I know I said I'd drop him, but I think McGuinness would get into... sorry, no, McGuinness. I'm talking absolute nonsense.
McGuinness can't even get into this team.
Yeah. Sorry, I was doing a gav there. I was saying completely the wrong name, confusing myself. No, I think Jackson Irvine would get into that team.
Who was up top? Flo and McLaren?
Flo on his own. McLaren came off the bench. So I'd start Nisbet ahead of Flo.
Yeah,
Or was Flo better playing it as a lone striker?
He was better up top on his own. We've seen Nisbet's not been as effective one up top.
But to me, I think he's not effective because of the style of football we play. I've said that before. I think if we were to play football like we did then, Nisbet would benefit as a lone striker. A lot more balls in the...
Nisbet will benefit when Scott Allen's starting.
Yeah. Aye, 100% agree. We've got really saying, we're turning to the Rangers podcast today after Dave's going for 55 and his Rangers are a bigger team than Hibs statements on Monday's show. Let's have a look here. Some more questions from... I should have looked these more up. We need to get people modding to kind of help me keep on top of these. A lot of good chatting in here. Just looking for the question. Get more questions in just now. We mentioned that one about the Levine football. We talked about that earlier on. So sort of talking about Scott Allen, we spoke about that one as well. Sorry, I'm just sort of catching up on the chat here. I'll edit this down in the podcast rather than sort of going for the questions. I've got some. Have you got any there, Stuart?
Yeah, quite a good one actually from KRW7070. Can I ask a question? I'm a season ticket holder this season. Do you think the club will honour the season tickets for next season? Because let's face it, we ain't getting back into the grounds until next season. I see some clubs are already agreeing to do this. It's a fair question. Personally, I can't see the club being able to honour it financially. I think they will do something to thank the fans who kind of backed the team for a season without being able to get there. But financially, I can't see them being able to. And at the end of the day, we'd only really be hurting ourselves. Whether they make funds available, like they did with regards to the refunds for games from the previous season, and say, if you are able to not take the funds, we would thank you, but if not, we're not going to hold it against you. I think that's maybe a fair way to go as well, or allow people to roll it over.
Yeah, I think there's no chance that I think they'll just season ticket campaign will start and then that'll be it. They might try and do something. I think kind of what you're saying financially probably doesn't make much sense. I think I seen Motherwell say that at the start of the season that any games they didn't get into this season would go over to next season, but they're Motherwell are knocking it out of the park. You know, their social media, their community stuff, like just the way they treat the fans and everything is like the model that I think everybody should aspire to be like.
Yeah,
very good, very good. And then that stand with the awareness thing, like they just seem to do.
Yeah, that is good.
Well. Yeah, they have their sleepovers on the pitches at night and that for good causes.
Like I say, I've said before, I know the Hibs media team do have a lot of people furloughed at the moment and did have a lot planned. I know they were setting up a specific room for the HTC, which has been completely put on the back burner. So I think post-COVID, we will see a lot more to get excited about on the socials and the Hibs TV and the YouTube channels and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of that's been put in the back burner, unfortunately, due to COVID. But no, I have to agree with you, though. A lot of good work from Motherwell. Completely agree. So a question here from John saying about the state of the current Easter Road pitch, saying, could it cost us points between now and the end of the season if it doesn't get improved? Dave?
I don't think it'll stop handling Denny's diagonal, so I think it'll be fine.
But according to Jack Ross, that's the only reason we're playing that way.
Is it?
Because
I've seen him doing it on artificial grass, which is...
I know, aye. I completely... It's bollocks, but that's what Jack Ross said. I'm just reporting what Jack Ross said, David.
Not falling for it, Mr. Ross, sorry.
But then the Livy all-weather pitches had 2 games called off in the last month. So
pitch is bad, though. Like, yeah. I feel a bit sorry for... Because I don't doubt that loads of work's went into it, and it's not obviously paid off. Looks like we've maybe tried to clear it, like the snow that's been on it, or like we've had a tractor try to clear it on. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but
I think that we would usually have a lot more staff on it. And again, people are furloughed and people are not, there to kind of help. So it's limited numbers of people at the moment, should
people be furloughed that are working on the pitch that we have to play on in order to finish higher in the league and that? No,
tad short-sighted, yeah,
definitely
potentially. So let's have a look. Some more questions here from Lewis Pearson saying, was McGuinness a panic buy? I mean, I know he's had injuries and he's kind of struggling to get in the team at the moment, but do you see him as a panic buy?
I thought his 17 seconds he came on for last night were absolutely fantastic. No, he's definitely an investment for the future. Yeah, it's a shame that he's not been able to hit the ground running for it, but no, there's certainly a player in there, and we will get money back from him. Give him a full pre-season, get himself up to fitness. He's going to be a key member of our team.
Next, Dave, your thoughts on McGuinness quickly?
I've not seen enough of him. Like I think I can't say whether I think he's going to be good or not. I'm not going to hang my hat on whether he is. I think we bought him. Did we buy him when we lost it to McCrory? Like, I know they're a different type of player, but was it similar?
It was just after that, but I think we're looking at him regardless. I don't think it was.
I was going to say, I wonder how far down the list he was, because obviously we didn't get Ojo and then we signed Josh Vela, who obviously was a number 2 option, and look how that worked out. But
look how Ojo worked it.
He still played more games for Aberdeen than Vela did for us. But yeah, I don't know if it's a panic option or no, but I would expect for the money we've paid for him he should be a starter when he's fit and all that.
Some comments here. Hybe09. Let's not forget Hearts aren't in this league. Celtic and Aberdeen have both been poor. We should be finishing third anyway. It's a good sort of point there. And a question here. How did you guys meet? That's from Douglas Russell 86. I can tell you how myself and Dave met. Dave used to be my boss. I used to work. I had a part-time job at Reebok, which then became Adidas, and Dave was assistant manager. Although I'm right in saying when you started, you were floor manager, whatever it was called, and Claire was manager, and Paul, the now manager, was assistant manager. So, but yeah, you're my boss. And
now you're my boss. podcast boss.
Aye. And Stuart was you were on a phone in, Stuart, weren't you once?
Yeah, I was invited on one time to, I think it was go through one of the kind of post-derby games, and you've just not managed to get rid of me.
I thought he sounded like Ian Crocker, and I was like, get Ian Crocker back on. He does sound like him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Question here. One more question. I'm gonna have to turn my mic around because I'm realizing I'm having to speak at my mic quite a bit, but look at the screen. So we've got here question from Matt Fairney, of course, of Long Bangers. Keep the good work there. Who makes your ideal midfield in this current squad? So who's your ideal midfield if everyone's fitting up and running? I know we've spoken about it in the past, but what's your ideal midfield? Obviously, I think it depends on opposition. I think if we're playing a Celtic Rangers, it's Newell, Irvin and Gogic, and if we're playing Aberdeen, it's Newell, Irvin and Scott Allen in front of them.
Yeah, I'll go with that. You don't even need to ask me. I think I agree.
Just steal my answers. Just copy my work. Just didn't make look like you're stealing my work.
Yeah, what do we do with McGuinness, who's a couple 100,000?
Play him out in the left. Drop Murphy.
You have to remember Cadden as well. He's coming. Yeah,
I'd play Cadden right back. I'd play Doig left back. Porteous and Hanlon. Sorry, McGregor. They'll find their form again. I'd play Boyle on the right, McGuinness on the left, Allen behind Nisbet, and Irvin and Newell as the midfield two.
There you go.
There's my team.
Say that.
Stuart, what's your midfield, D?
You know what? Far too many options. Yeah. I would be tempted if everybody's fit, raring to go. Murphy on the left, having Gogic, Irvin, Boyle on the right, 2 up front, and having the 4 at the back.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's have a look. Do you think we'll see any players coming in who are without clubs? Dave, do you see us going into the free agents market to sign a striker?
Wouldn't surprise me. I didn't know anything about any free agents that there'll probably be somebody for overseas or something, I would imagine then. But I've not got a clue. I think we probably should be in that market anyway, just to see if there is anything that comes up that's worth looking at. Short-term deal, see if it works. But I see why not. Yeah,
I think we don't want to find ourselves in a position where we've kind of, obviously worked out before this example. I'm going to give us a horrendous example, but we found ourselves when Oxley got injured being like, oh my God, we need to sign a goalkeeper, and we signed Conrad Logan, who was a free agent. Obviously that one worked out, but I don't think we need to find ourselves in a position if Nisbet and Doidge got injured, for example, and then we're playing Rangers, Murphy can't play, so you've only got Boyle as an attacking option. I think we need, and we don't want to have to then go into the free. So I think it's better to look now before other players get snapped up, because I think we are short. But yeah. Let's have a look. I can see Ice Wallow. I think it's that thing anyway. What? I'm not falling for that again. What could be our perfect midfield? We've kind of just covered that there. And did we actually get confirmation from Ross that Nisbet handed in a transfer request? I don't think that confirmation's came yet, but it should come, shouldn't it?
It certainly needs said.
Yeah, my problem is the longer it goes on that we've not heard, it makes me more likely to think that he did put in a transfer request. Otherwise, it's a quick, easy one for the club to rubbish. We say, look, we've no idea where this came from. He's happy to be here. Media making a nuisance of themselves because it's transfer deadline day and it was born as shit.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty boring. Question here from Andrew. Do you miss Hearts?
I missed the build-up to the Derby day.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't miss Hearts.
I miss the build-up. I just don't miss Derby Day, because it's once you get to Derby Day, maybe until like 12 o'clock, I'm all right. If it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, and then from 12 till 3, I feel sick.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck the Hearts. Like, lower league team, let's not talk about them.
Yeah. So next up, as I said, recorded on Transfer Deadline Day, I was joined by Dave, Billy, Liam and the other Stuart as we discussed Nisbet, Porteous and a reaction to Jamie Gullan going out on loan. Let's start with Ryan Porteous. Let's start with him. Obviously there was links with Millwall, around about £1 million. How would you have felt if Ryan Porteous had left?
I'd have accepted it. £1 million, put a sell-on fee in it in case like he does reach the potential that he maybe does have. But I think we overrate him as a player because he's a Hibs fan and we want him to do well. But there's nothing wrong with that. But he's had a lot of mistakes in his performances this season. So for me, I'd have probably accepted a half-decent offer, sell-on fee and then reinvested.
I mean, I'll be honest, just off the bat, I'd completely disagree with what you just said. I think Ryan Porteous is brilliant. I think, he's going to make mistakes because he's 21 and he plays in a position where mistakes are going to be made. A lot of them are avoidable and he needs to do better, but I think he's brilliant. And I think he can do better than Millwall. But I appreciate your opinion, Dave. That's why
he can do decent. Like, he can have good games, he can have poor games. And I'm just saying, if we're getting offered that money for a player, then is it a gamble to turn that down and then wait and see if he does reach his potential? I think it is a gamble. Like, I don't really say how, like, with confidence, like, how it can definitely be a top player. I don't see it yet, to be fair.
But Liam, I mean, he's a player that has only had a taste. He's been in and around the Scotland squad. He's one that surely will stay around that Scotland squad and sort of kick on when he does. And that's only going to bump up his value even more once he's in that Scotland squad, once he's playing even more regularly for Hibs. I mean, I think if we play the long game, do you think we could get more than £1 million for Porteous going forward?
I think so. Steve Clarke seems to be the kind of Scotland manager who's happy to, play the youngsters, which plays right into Porteous's hand. And there's no doubt about it. At some point or another, he's going to be in the Scotland squad. He's going to be starting. Might not be in the Euros. It might not be, in the next qualifying campaign, but it will be at some point. And if we manage to hold on to him until he's making regular appearances for Scotland, then his price, like you say, will bump right up. I think we're well within our rights, and I think it's a sensible decision to knock back that £1 million bid, because I think he's no Maldini, he's no Nesta, but he's definitely got potential, and we could get another couple of million out of that.
Just a young lad, isn't he? He's still learning his trade.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, Liam. I think that the Porteous I think it should be Porteous with McGregor, or Porteous with Hanlon, or another, and get them to bring him through, because I think he's worth more than £1 million, Cass. He's too good a player,
absolutely.
I think.
At this point of the season as well, with the amount of centre-halves that we've got, I think we would have been daft to let him go for £1 million. If we'd have let Porteous go, hypothetically, and that was the only money that we were bringing in, then who do we get into the place that's not a quick loan fix till the end of the season that's going to be better? You know, I would say keep him until we can get a good 3, maybe £4 million, I don't know, for a wee bit down the line, and we'll take it from there.
I thought he was the future captain.
I think so as well.
I thought he was, but time will tell.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got that in his future. I mean, and sort of we'll get in a bit more in detail, a bit more. But Billy, I mean, it would have been crazy to let a centre back go. When a lot of Hibs fans are saying surely we're going to sign a centre back this window, to let one go and then have to then replace that one. I mean, we would have been leaving our real self really short if he had gone.
Yeah, and not only that, it would have been like a short-term loan, whoever was to come in and replace him. So it's not like we're developing anyone for the future. Whereas if we keep Porteous, then we are developing somebody for the future. We are, as Stuart said, developing somebody who could be a Hibs captain, could be a Scotland international. But what worries me is at the start of the season, his form was superb. Like he was absolutely incredible. And then he got his call up to Scotland, and then he just teared off the cliff after that. Like that's when his form really took a bad dip. So what worries me was the expectation levels getting to him? Was that type of pressure maybe starting to affect his game? What do you think, Stuart?
You're possibly right, Billy. What is he? Is he 21?
21, yeah.
21, And I keep on saying it. Think about what you were doing at 21.
Can you mind what you were doing at 21?
Oh!
Was that during the war?
What one?
The fucking blackout blinds in that.
I played with Selkirk, right? Okay. I played with Selkirk. No, I was doing with Hibs. But when you do think about it, he's 21. He's playing against, top centre forwards. We can talk about Celtic and Rangers, right? And he plays not too bad against them. And it's the stupid tackles, the stupid wee things that he does that against the smaller clubs. So I still rate him. I really do. I think that he's a future captain at Hibs, and I wouldn't let him go. No, for £1 million. Christ, what are we going to get for £1 million? Nothing.
I bet you see the way Scottish teams do transfers now. Like, I'm not saying that I don't rate Porteous. I think he has decent bank. It's a gamble, and it maybe could have been seen as good business to let him go for that, then pap a selling fee. And then what Billy's saying, obviously we didn't leave ourselves enough time. Maybe go with a short-term deal of that. But Hibs are always harping on about how they've got this list of players and they're ready. Like we should be ready. Like if that does happen, what if somebody came in with money we couldn't refuse? Like
we spoke about
that list of players there that could potentially come in.
Dave, we spoke about this on Saturday watching the Hibs Dundee United game, and it doesn't work. But we should, as a club, be buying somebody in and then selling our players, rather than, because then the clubs know that when we do go for to buy someone, they want top dollar because they know that we've got £1 million or £2 million or £3 million sitting in the bank. Yeah. Why do we know, use ahead, go in, buy, get out, and then sell, and then the other clubs know that you're getting a better deal. So
because we're happy with Porteous. Like he is good, he's got loads of potential in that, and then we're happy with Nisbet. Like we probably aren't going to be able to get better, so it would be more reactive. Whereas on the flip side, if it was maybe like a player that wasn't as prominent in the Hibs starting 11, it maybe would have been a bit different. But
I agree with that. I think if we were, I think we need to be more reactive rather than proactive for like our best players. Exactly what Dave says, because we don't want to be losing them anyway. So if we go out, and buy someone, it's kind of like admitting defeat. So, I mean,
we need one though.
Yeah, aye,
I've
but the
said
coin the coin works in both ways. If you sell someone, then teams know how much money you've got to then spend. But if you buy someone, then if we went out and bought a striker for 500 grand and wanted to sell Nisbet, then a team could say, "Oh, we'll just buy $1 million because you've only spent 500 grand." You know what I mean? So it works both ways. But I think, I would rather not lose any of the good players and just keep them forever.
I think what comes to my mind is I personally don't really rate Scott McKenna that high. I think he's a bit overrated. And then I think to myself, well, he only really got that high price tag because he being capped for Scotland. And then when he was capped for Scotland, he was gash. What's stopping us from keeping a hold of Porteous, getting a few caps for Scotland, and then selling him on for more? Because that's what Aberdeen have done with McKenna. They played a blinder with him.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah.
We might be playing a blinder here too, and hopefully that is the case.
I hope so.
And hopefully they can get back to early season form.
Yeah.
Aye.
So let's have a chat about the Nisbet. Obviously, a lot going on with him. I mean, Dave, your first sort of thoughts on Birmingham City being the team that was linked with him?
Birmingham. I don't have any feelings, good or bad, towards Birmingham for a start, right? But they're not exactly in a good position in the table. You kind of seen stuff like financially they're maybe not doing the best, even though they're kind of spending money now. But they're probably desperate at this moment in time because they were there to get out it. That's why they're bought Cosgrove. I'm sure they've loaned another striker the day as well. So, and I don't
got something for Man City, aye.
I don't think their fans are happy at all about like the way they're playing. And obviously they wouldn't be. I think they're 20th in the league. They didn't bother. I'd be like, I could be playing League One next season. What am I doing?
Well, Rotherham are 3 points behind them with 2 games in hand, Dave.
Yeah,
and they're sitting 21st. So they're in the bottom 3.
Yeah,
so they win their 2 games in hand. Birmingham are they're rock bottom in the bottom 3. It's like I think it's a stupid move if he did go, and the only way he's going is money.
Yeah, money. I was speaking to my papa about it, and he's like, football's just all off balance now. He's got people leaving Hibs to go to Wickham. He's like, where the fuck is Wickham? Wickham are not a big club or nothing, but they've got the money. Like, it's just completely all over the place. He was like, you go down south, you sign with a club like Wickham or something, he's like, or the lower leagues in England, you just get lost like in a sea in mediocrity, and it's completely true. The balance of football is just skewed.
Who was it just signed for Gary Neville's side? Salford. Somebody said signed
Tom James.
Is that
Tom James?
Aye, that's right.
Wilson's there as well.
Aye. It's like they're going there because they're getting the money. That's it. End off.
Yeah.
I mean, Liam, Nisbet's made the step from League One to the Championship, and a lot of people says, "Oh, can he make the step up?" He did. A lot of people said, "Oh, can he make the step up to the Premier League?" He has. Do you think that going down to the English Championship would have been maybe a slightly too soon in terms of his development? Is that? I know we're kind of going to be talking more about Hibs, but in terms of Nisbet as a striker and as a player, is his development better suited to getting more experience rather than jumping straight to the Championship? Is he kind of got to do it a bit more gradually, or is he got the talent where he just hit the ground running down in the English Championship anyway?
I think he's got the talent to do it, but if I was Kevin Nisbet, I wouldn't be overly impressed by Birmingham coming in for me. Like Dave says, 20th in the Championship, look like they might go down playing League One football next season, then he gets lost. I think it would be beneficial in Nisbet to at least see the season out, hopefully get into the Scotland squad, have a strong Euros if he plays, and then he can see where he is, at the start of next season, at the summer transfer window. We might be able to get double, and he might be going down to the Premier League. That half season might be enough for him to get a top half Championship team pushing for promotion, or maybe like a West Ham or Brighton, West Brom, someone like that. I think if I was Nisbet, I'd stay. I think I wouldn't want to jump ship too soon. Get a full Premiership season under his belt. I'm not too sure how often he played for Partick when They were in the Premiership, but he's got, like you said, 11 goals. If he scores another 5 or 6, then it takes him to nearly 20 for the season, and that's a spectacular season.
Yeah.
And then he'll be 24, so it'll maybe be then time for another change.
Stuart, we spoke about Porteous and how the benefits of Hibs holding on to him a bit longer. I mean, Nisbet has even more chance of being involved in the Euros, and if he does play for it, get a few games for Scotland under his belt, get even potentially a couple of goals, that value is just going to go up even more. And I mean, 3.5 years left in his deal. You can see why Hibs aren't in a hurry to sell him.
Yeah, and I can see, as Liam says, if he scores another 5 or 6 goals, right, to the end of the season, if he doesn't get called up for the Euros, there's something wrong with Steve Clarke. So if he, there has to be.
Yeah.
He's on form.
Top goal scorer in the league.
Yeah. So if he goes to the Euros, and let's say he might not be top, he might not be the first guy on Clark's list to be playing, but if he does get on, and I think his runs are brilliant. That's what I like watching him. He's not just a goal scorer. He does a lot of running into corners, down the channels, and if English clubs are watching that, or anybody that could be abroad watching that, I think these price will, it could be 5 million.
Yeah, we could
he's
be
a goal
looking at
scorer.
double. We could be looking at double what Birmingham have offered in the summer. If he keeps it up, Steve Clarke can't ignore him for the Scotland squad. And if he has a strong Euros, we could be looking at 5-6 million in the summer. I mean, and I might be completely bullshitting there. We might get 4 million, we might get 3.5 million, but he might be going to a better team. Fuck Birmingham, man.
Right. Well, I'm looking at the league, right, for the top down. Norwich, Swansea, Brentford, Reading, Watford, Bournemouth, Borough, Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Bristol, Stoke. That's your top 10. Now, surely he could get a game in any of these teams. Middlesbrough. Of course he could go down there. Of course he could go down. But what's his name?
That's another one where they just get stuck, though. They just get stuck there. Aye. And if they didn't get stuck in the Championship, they're a yo-yo club. You want to go to like a stalwart in the Premier League, really, and then make your way up for there, like a West Ham or something.
But even if he has a season down there, he signs a 3-year deal, and he gets a team that are, try to get promotion, so they're winning games, and he's scoring. Of course, he's going to go to the Premiership. That's the. I just think that it looks a bad move to me. It really does. If he does go.
Billy, I was speaking to a Birmingham fan. Considering it was on Twitter, it was actually quite amicable and quite, nice and back and forth, which for a change. But I was speaking to a Birmingham fan on Twitter, and they were saying, how come Cosgrove, who has got a similar goals to game ratio, I think I worked out, Cosgrove in his Premier League run is like 0.46 goals a game. Nisbet works out about 0.48, so marginal difference. Cosgrove's done it a lot longer, a lot more consistency in the Premier League. They were saying, and he's only a year older, how can Aberdeen value Cosgrove at 2 million and then we can reject a bid of say 3 million? He was saying, how is Nisbet really worth that much more than Cosgrove?
I think it comes down to as well the length of the contract. I'm not entirely sure how long Cosgrove had left, but Nisbet's 6 months into a 4-year deal. So that plays a part in it as well. Not only that, Aberdeen have been trying to punt Cosgrove since the summer. I mean, they tried to punt him off to France. So it's been obvious he's not valued at the club, where Nisbet is valued at the club. So Aberdeen put themselves in that position to not be able to ask for more because they accepted a low bid by that French team in the summer. Where for us, when it comes to Nisbet, he's rated highly. He's on the cusp of getting a call up for the Euros. Mm-hmm. He's the top goal scorer in the league. Actually, is he still the top goal scorer in the league, or is Tav?
Joint Tav.
So it's joint. And if you take away penalties, then he's by far the top goal scorer in the league.
Yes.
So not only that, right? So you've got Nisbet playing well. Cosgrove isn't playing well. In fact, he's been in and out the team all season. I mean, he was injured for a big chunk of it, and when he's came back, he's not been a starter. To me, that's why we demand more.
Yeah. And Dave, we spoke a bit about Nisbet's development. He's still got quite a bit of improving to do, and he can definitely achieve that at Hibs. It may be a bit more difficult at Birmingham, like you say, in a relegation battle, expecting them to hit the ground running, needing goals. At Hibs, he's got a bit more leeway to keep on working on his game, improve his game, find out why he's not getting the Scotland squad and what he's got to change to change Clark's mind, get into the Scotland squad, continue to improve. There is still more improvement to come from this, but isn't there?
Aye, he's definitely no the finished article. I mean, he's been poor the last 4 or 5 games. I think he's registered 1 shot on target in his last 3 games. So he hasn't been the best, and fair enough, like strikers go through form patches like that. But I think he's possibly the whole transfer request thing. Maybe I think that maybe circles around the fact that he was at Partick and it wasn't really happening, and then he left Birmingham. And then it's maybe got to the point where he's like, Ken, what? I didn't expect to be able to get a big move or to make that type of money. He's maybe getting desperate because it's all of a sudden all happening really fast for him. I think there's maybe an element in that.
Do you not think, Dave, that it could be, it's not been long since he lost his dad, and think it maybe it's maybe went against the way he's been playing at the moment.
Yeah, form-wise, that could definitely impact you. It would impact a lot of people.
Of course.
And I don't doubt that.
I'm not making excuses, but I'm just thinking, for a young boy, and he was seemingly a big influence in his football career.
Yeah.
He used to ask him all the, it might have been totally different. He might have said, if his dad was still living, he could have asked him, what do you think? No, didn't he make that move? That's not the best move. He's maybe not got anyone apart from his agent to give him a wee bit of nudge here or there. And his forum, maybe that's what it's been. Maybe that's that he's coming back to it now, so hopefully.
Yeah. Billy, I know from speaking to you this morning, you were one of the sort of more vocal people I'd seen that were a bit frustrated when you heard there was talk that a transfer request had been handed in. What was your sort of reaction when you heard that reported, at least?
To me, I hate the idea of players handing in transfer requests, because if they don't get their move, then you've kind of burned your bridges with the fans a wee bit. Because, I can only speak for myself, but I want my team to be players who want to play for that jersey, who want to give it all, and not people who are only doing it because they want to benefit themselves and get themselves the next big move. I want them to be playing 100% for the team.
Yeah.
And when I saw that he handed in the transfer request, I didn't even hang. You all saw in the chat, I threw the dummy out big time. I was like, if he doesn't want to be here, get rid of him, get him. I don't care, play Boyle up front for the rest of the season. I didn't care. I didn't want to play him again. And obviously that's it's the same when if you ask a bird out and she says no, you hate her. I was like, I didn't want you anyway. So, yeah, I was a bit frustrated with that, but I've kind of calmed down a bit. My main issue is now.
What with the bird?
Well, lucky my wife doesn't listen to Hibs talk. My main concern is now, there's a couple of concerns I've got with the whole transfer request thing. One is he's not getting his move. He's staying at Hibs. So what kind of player are we going to have from now to the end of the season? Because I guarantee you, in the summer he's gone. He will 100% be no Hibs player in the summer. So are we going to have somebody now who isn't happy, is mumping and moaning? Apparently went straight to Ron Gordon and asked for the transfer request. So he's went above the manager, if all of the papers are to be believed. Obviously, I didn't want to sit and stir things, but this is what you're reading on Twitter. So if he's went straight to Ron Gordon and says, I want out, I don't reckon, how we could be playing him as a starter now. Because his head's not going to be in it. And then not only that, is that going to damage his moves in the future? Because for what we've gathered, he tried to get a move to us from Dunfermline last January, and it fell through. And then now he's trying to get a move away from us. So are any potential buyers going to be looking at him and thinking, no, I don't want him. He's not loyal. He's not going to try and do anything. If anybody sniffs about, he's right to try and hand in a transfer request.
Yeah, Stuart, do you think this could affect future clubs looking at him?
I forgot about that. I forgot about that with Dunfermline. Maybe is one of these lads that is pushing on, but it's the nature of the game. You've only got till, barring injuries, if you keep yourself fit, apart from the top guys in the Premiership in English, that 32 is an average age to play. So you got to make as much money So I could, but Billy's right. He could have burnt his bridges now. So getting like with what happened was with John Collins, the players went to the chairman, and if he's went like that, is a gaffer going to be happy? If it's true.
So I can see a few people in here, the chat here. Scott saying did the same at Pars last summer, didn't impact his play too much from what I can remember. And Lewis Pearson saying, Lewis Pearson saying he's done it with Wraith. So I don't think it's got anything to do with anything else. Think he wants the money. Dave, I mean, how do you? I mean, obviously fans aren't in the ground, so he's not going to have any sort of hospital. I can't really say the word, but he's not going to have that sort of atmosphere in terms of fans. But do you think other players in the team might act a bit funny, or do you think players understand that football's a short game and that if the opportunity is there, they've kind of got to do what they've got to do? How do you think the teammates will react, and how do you think he's going to? Do you think he'll be beneficial from the fact that fans aren't there?
I think what you just said is pretty much spot on. Players are different. Fans react different.
Sorry, I answered the question with a question.
Yeah,
I've got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Elaborate on what I've said because I'm really clever.
But fans buy into everything different. Like, we want every person that plays with Hibs to be a Hibs fan and want to play for Hibs till they retire and fucking Hibs tattoos and that. Like, we want the lot, right? It's not going to happen. Nisbet might want to go for the money, fair enough. Do it a bit in a classier way. Like Canberra, you might want to go and play Rangers because Rangers are a bigger club, right? Do it in a classier way. It doesn't matter, Gav. Just leave me for 2 seconds. Right? I've said it. It's done. I'll never say it again.
Sunday clip that.
Nah.
Big question, Dave. You're an Adidas man. Adidas, you work. Let everybody know you work with. You work with Adidas, and Puma came in and offered you 4 or 5 times or 10 times your wage. Would you jump ship and go to Puma?
Puma or Diddy?
They're sitting 20th in the league, but they're going to give you 10 times your wage.
I'm ambitious. I would go further with Adidas. There you go. But in all seriousness, see if somebody comes in to me now and wants to give me more money, I'm away. Like what Stuart's saying, right? But that's how fans are. And that's how fans want them to play with Hibs forever, and it's maybe not always realistic. But what I want to happen, I want the club to come out, or Nisbet to come out and say what's kind of happened a wee bit. Maybe stoke the fire. I don't, even if it's lies and made up, and Nisbet come out and be like, no, I'm here, it's fine. I'm going to play the best I can for the rest of the season because it needs to happen. I think if it's ignored, then I think frustration could build up if performances are not good. Because then
I don't think it will be ignored.
It can't be.
I don't think it will be.
I mean, Liam, it's one of those things. I mean, we've seen Scott Allen obviously famously handed in a transfer request to try and get a move to Rangers and then went to Celtic. And we're more than back in love with Scott Allen now. I mean, good performances, goals and assists. The Hibs fans will forget about the transfer request and move it on. It'll probably just be a bit of a sour taste in the mouth rather than, completely changing our opinion on him when he eventually does move on.
For me, I'm not really overly arsed about it at the moment. I think it could just be his agent trying to stir up a bit of interest. I'm trying to take it with a pinch of salt, because if Nisbet really, really, really didn't want to be here, he wouldn't be here. He would have been away. He would have forced Hibs' hand, and Hibs would have had to accept one of the offers, because you can't have an unhappy player, a player willing to down tools in the squad. It's just a parasite on the rest of the squad, and I don't think Hibs would have allowed it. I think it's just his agent trying to shit stir, maybe trying to get a wee bit of interest. I heard that Chef, you were interested earlier in the window. Maybe he was trying to rekindle something from there. But listen, I think the club or Kevin Nisbet will come out and they'll explain what's happened. Maybe not to the extent, he's going to leave in the summer, but I think it'll come out and say, and Kevin Nisbet will maybe just say, listen, I'm here to stay, and I'm going to give 110% for the club, like I have been doing all season, and that would be good enough for me. Like I said, I try not to read too much into these things. the Scott Allen thing to Rangers, that was a bit different because you can he was, or he might still be, I'm not too sure, an absolute diehard Rangers fan, trying to force the move there. And if your boyhood club comes in for you, then you want to go. If I was at Rangers and Hibs came in for me, and Rangers said nah, I would try and force the move through to Hibs. You know what I mean? But listen, like I said, try not to read too much in it. Take it with a pinch of salt. I'm trying not to do a Billy and go nuts over it.
So, I mean, Dave, what's your kind of... I mean, I know Tam McManus is trying to make it boring for us and saying we're done, but, I mean, names that sort of come up every window, but would be great additions, Stewart and Molt.
Yeah, any one of them. We needed a striker before Gullan went out, so
I'm sorry.
I'll be...
Gullan's went out.
What?
Yeah, he's away to Wraith.
Yeah, Gullan signed for Wraith Rovers.
I did not know this. Okay, we need to react to that in a second, but yeah, quickly on the rumours and then we'll react to that. I am so far behind. Okay, right, go.
That's what I mean. So see, if we're done and Gullan's away, then what are we doing? Like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We
my
needed
God.
one before that. Exactly, this is a live reaction.
This does leave us really short up top. I mean, does this mean we're going to see Boyle more as a striker with Cadden coming in? And I mean, surely it's got to be somebody going in if we've let him go.
Well, that's what we were sort of a wee bit moaning about, Gav, earlier on, because we're short up top now. We've not got anybody. It's Nisbet can't go now.
Well, we're short. Anyway.
Unless we're short. But we're needing one coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So now, there's Gullan away, so we really need two in.
The only thing I can think is if Jack Ross thinks that Boyle and Murphy are strikers. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah. Dave, you're shaking your head. You don't see
Jack
Boyle
Ross.
and Murphy as
Jack
strikers.
Ross. Jack Ross thinks that Martin Boyle can take set pieces, so fuck knows, he might think he's a striker.
Jack.
But,
and Murphy can't make any runs because he would be running right down Albion Road because he just runs left.
No,
he does. He can't run down. He can't run straight, man. He'll be down Albion Road.
We need another striker in. It's as simple as that. We'll probably try and go for.
He'll be in Riordan's, man. He'll be. Jesus, man. I can't. It's bad when you think about it. That the laddie. I don't know why he's been let go because when every time he's came on, he's done something, and I don't understand how they can let him go.
Well,
they must have somebody.
I didn't have a problem with him letting him go on loan if he's going to get more game time and experience and that, because he's not getting game time in that now. But my problem is if nobody comes in. But we'll probably just scour the free market of the next wee while and go the cheap option. That wouldn't surprise me.
Joe's
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry. Just quickly. Sorry, Gav.
Yes.
Jim White's not got a tie on. Have you got his? He's not wearing that.
I bought it off him.
Ties are out.
That's why it was a tenner.
Signed by Jim White.
I think he retired it, to be fair, so I'm bringing it back.
Sorry, Billy.
That's it.
No, Joe's put in the chat that he's wondering if maybe Gary O'Connor's lad Josh might be in for a few spaces on the bench in maybe a couple of games. Yeah,
I mean, I'll open this up to everyone. I mean, Josh is sort of starting to get in around the squad. Do we maybe see him as an option? Dave, start with yourself. And Stephen Bradley, Gullan's been playing out wide. Is there maybe going to be more opportunities for Stephen Bradley, or is he another one that could be going out on loan?
Possibly. I didn't know. I've not seen Josh O'Connor apart from on a couple of things where he's da. And he does look like a big boy. He looks the spitting image.
Yes.
Gary O'Connor. It's absolute spitting image. But
he's only 16, is he?
Right, whether he's ready for first team football at 16-year-olds, another thing coming. Like, if we need somebody to play up front with Nisbet, because in my opinion, Doidge works hard, and I find it hard not to like that. Like, I don't doubt his ability in that. I just think he's a effort, but I just think ability-wise, he's probably not got enough for me finishing, and I don't think he's complete enough. I think we could have better. And I want somebody to come in and take that role with Nisbet.
Liam, how do you feel about, Josh O'Connor pushing for minutes and Bradley sort of coming in wide more often, maybe sort of freeing Boyle up to play up top more.
I think I've said it on previous podcasts, and I definitely mentioned it in the group chat. I think Stephen Bradley should be given a lot more of a chance. Again, even in times when we're getting beat, I thought the games against Livingston and Ross County were, although we were getting beat, were perfect opportunities for young Bradley to come on. Maybe make a difference, maybe not, but those kind of games when you're getting beat at home against a tough side, like a physical side that builds character for a young laddie.
Yeah.
I thought he maybe would have benefited from that instead of 15 minutes at the end of a 4-0 scalping Hamilton. Hopefully this with Mallon going out, and I know that Stephen Bradley and Stephen Mallon play in different positions, but maybe this will give Stevie Bradley a wee bit more of a chance. Josh O'Connor, I can't say aye or no about the guy. If he's half as good as his dad was, then we've got a real player on our hands. Although I'd like to see us bring someone else in to replace Gullan for the time being, rather than if Doidge or Nisbet gets injured or one of them's injured and then one of them gets suspended. I wouldn't want to lean on a 16-year-old laddie for our goals for a game or any number of games. I don't think, one, that's fair on him, or two, that's fair on the supporters. I think the supporters need someone else in who can, handle that.
You mentioned being about half as good as somebody there. I was getting asked today what I thought about Florian Camberi and stuff, and another Hibs fan had said he's not as good as he thinks he is. He's half the player that he thinks he is. And I says, well, he thinks he's Cristiano Ronaldo, so he's not that bad. So he's sorry, that was a shit joke, but I had to tell it.
I want somebody with arrogance in. I didn't mind that. See somebody that thinks they're shit hot, or they think they're a wall beater and that, then fine. At least it's a wee bit of character. We didn't have enough characters in that Hibs team now, and that's exactly what Jason Cummins was. He thought he was better than he was, and that was fine.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one, him going to Dundee, especially the fact it's a permanent one as well. He seemed to be sort of talk of loans and stuff, but yeah, permanent one. So good signing for Dundee. Did they play at all? Did they come off the bench? I know they got scalped. Did they know? His first game
came off the bench.
Yeah. Stuart, your thoughts on sort of the potential for some young laddies to kind of break in if this is where the squad's at, and your thoughts on how, let's be honest, how thin the squad is.
Well, first of all, I can see what you're talking about, the young O'Connor lad, but is that no kick in the teeth to young Gullan getting shipped out and then bringing a young lad onto a bench? Now, if it was me, I'd put young O'Connor out in on loan and keep Gullan, because Gullan's had experience. So I wouldn't be happy if I was Gullan and they start bringing in a young lad on the bench and giving him 10, 15 minutes at the end, because he never done that with Gullan, which I felt sorry for him, because when he did go on, he did no bad. So that's...
Aye, so no, carry on.
No, I'm finished. Aye.
I'm just saying this situation with Jamie Gullan screams Ollie Shaw over the back, getting a wee taste of football, then getting punted back out on loan again. And when Gullan comes back, how old is he? He's 21, isn't he?
But then Ollie Shaw is somebody we didn't really put out on loan. Is it maybe more, and sort of he's one that we were really kind of holding back by not giving him the minutes? Is it maybe more beneficial for Gullan to go out and get the minutes, Liam?
I think Gullan could have probably went to a championship side. Oh no, wait, Wraith are in the championship, eh?
I don't know. I don't follow Diddy League.
I've not got a clue. No, wait,
championship.
I thought, no, I'm thinking they were in League One, but no, they're in the championship. So, it might be a good. Gullan kens the club.
Yeah.
He scored goals the last time he was there. But to me, it's just when he comes back, is he going to be playing or is he going to be on the bench until, when he's 22, 23, and then he's going to go out to, we're going to sell him to someone else and he's going to come back and bite us in the arse when it comes to Easter Road. I've been a big fan of Gullan since I first seen him a couple of years ago. it just, the whole situation just reminds me of Ollie Shaw, and I don't want that to happen again, because Ollie Shaw's now showing, and he's always had it. Now he's shown he's a player.
See the Gullan. Anybody know what his contract is?
Couldn't tell you.
Because that'll be the factor. Because if he comes back in the summer, depending on what his contract is, Hibs, if he's got another 2 years, say, Hibs will put him back out on loan. If he's actually coming up for, just another year to go, they'll just get rid of him.
He maybe does have 2 years.
Has he got 2 years, is he?
I think so.
According
one of the ones that just signed like a 4-year deal.
Right.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, that's good then.
Try to load up transfer market, and an advert started playing noise there. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, Dave, what's your kind of thoughts? Is he going to benefit more from going out and getting football?
I think so, because that's what I mean. I don't have a problem from Hibs' angle of it. Be like, go out and get me our games. You're not getting a game now. We're all screaming for him to get me our game time.
Yeah,
he's not getting any. So, and like Billy and that saying, like, we seem to be playing Boyle and Murphy either side of Nisbet, or like, and then obviously that could be swapped round if it's Dodge. So he doesn't look like he is going to get much of a chance. That's fine. So send him out on loan, but don't leave yourself short. Like, we are in a position now where we're on Aberdeen's coattails. But look how Celtic are playing. Like, they're floundering. Like, is it unrealistic? Maybe a wee bit to think we could get second, but why not just
go for it?
Why not? Like, we're not going to be in a better position to be this close to Celtic at the end of January. It's not happening. Never going to happen again.
Thanks for listening, folks. As I said, you can follow us at HFC Talk, and if you want to catch us on the live streams on Twitch or on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there. And like I say, let us know if this worked. This was obviously a bit different, kind of merging the two. It'll usually be a lot more straightforward of just the one show going up as normal, but I felt like it was a 3-hour show. We couldn't put that up as a podcast, a lot of visual stuff as well, but I thought I'd put some of the reaction into the transfers in. So like I say, a bit of a longer podcast. Hopefully enjoyed it. Back to sort of normal stuff from next week as we look back at Aberdeen. I believe it's Ross County we've got after that. Anyway, thanks again, folks. Enjoy your week. Cheers.